Canadian wildfire season is the worst it's been in decades, and it's leading to plenty of smoke here in Minnesota. I'm sure you've noticed. While many of the large wildfires that occur today are not good, small, cooler burning fires can be beneficial to our landscape, and one city is using that to their advantage. Our Cody Matz is in Burnsville with more. Good morning, Cody.
Yeah, good morning. It is amazing that we're talking about fires, and it's obviously been raining for the last few hours, but it's good. But most simplistic terms, we as humans often deem fire bad, no fire good. Unfortunately, it's never that simple, as the landscape itself actually needs fire to regrow. It's a natural evolutionary process, and that's what's occurred actually behind me earlier this year here at Terrace Oaks Park in Burnsville. Now, our knowledge of this, or lack of knowledge thereof, basically, back in the 20th century has led to a much different type of fire today.
Once Europeans arrived, we've had sort of large-scale fire suppression. And what happens when you don't have fire carrying through a landscape, things become more forested than they were historically. And that creates a scenario, if something hasn't been burned for several hundred years, really a tinderbox, because the fires become catastrophic from that much vegetation.
So the city of Burnsville is actually trying to remedy that by reintroducing fire in a controlled way to turn the several hundred acres of parks in the city back to the more natural landscapes they were about 100 years ago.
So our first step is doing some tree thinning, removing invasive woody species, and really opening the area up. And then after that, we bring in native plant seeds and seed grasses and wildflowers so we can really restore that understory plant community. And then lastly, we can start regularly using controlled burns for our long-term sustainable management plan.
Now, the I-94 corridor here in Minnesota used to look very different. It used to contain an oak savanna, which was the natural border between the grasslands of southern Minnesota and the more dense forests across the north. But that has drastically changed because, obviously, of humans and our fire suppression. Now, you can check out the difference from these aerial pictures. The picture on the left is what the city of Burnsville looked like in 2011, including Terrace Oaks Park and the outline of the years that the restoration has taken place in the park, and then the same area back in 1937. Now, the biggest change from the obvious of more houses and roads is just the sheer volume and density of the trees and vegetation. The picture from 1937 is more what the natural landscape looked like before we started that fire suppression. Now, one of the latest areas to actually have a controlled burn you see behind me, this actually burned in April, a controlled burn from the city. But you can see, tough to see the wildflowers because they've all been kind of drooped a little bit because of the rain. But things come back very quickly when you have a cool burning fire. Now, if you want to learn more about this whole process and the years ahead and what they're doing here at the city of Burnsville, you can actually go to a workshop. It's actually put on by the Apollinaire conservationists you heard from. It's at 6:30 tonight. It's called Oak Fire and Climate Change. It's at City Hall here in Burnsville. You can find out more information about the workshop itself and the whole system and how the DNR from Minnesota is actually helping this whole process in the years and decades ahead. You can just visit our website, fox9.com. Guys, back to you.
Cody, amazing to see how the forest rejuvenates itself. It's beautiful and green this morning. Looks awesome. Thank you.